get so lost sometimes. Days pass in this emptiness fills my heart. When I want to run away, I travel in my car. But whichever way I go, I come back to the place you are. Then all my instincts, yeah, they return. In the grand facade, oh, so soon will burn. Without a noise, without my pride, I reach out from the inside. Yeah, yeah. Oh, the light to heal. I am complete. Yeah, I see the doorway. There's 1,000 churches. The resolution for my foolish searching. Oh, I see the light in the heat. Oh, I wanna be that cold. I wanna touch you like the heat I see in your eyes. Hey! I don't like to see so much pain, so much wasted, and these moments keep slipping away. I get so tired, working so hard for our survival. Yeah. I look to the time with you to keep me awake and alive. Oh, then all my instincts, yeah, they return. In the grand facade, oh, so soon's gonna burn. Without a noise, without my pride, I reach out from the inside. Hey, oh, hey, in your eyes, hey, in your eyes, in your eyes, in your eyes, in your eyes, the light to heal. I am complete. I see the doorway. There's 1,000 churches. There's a resolution upon my foolish searching. Oh, I see a light in the heat. Yeah, I wanna be that good. I wanna touch you like the heat I see in your eyes. Yeah, in your eyes. Oh, in your eyes. In your eyes. In your eyes. In your eyes. Accepting all I've done and said, I wanna stand and stare with you till there's nothing left. Oh, oh, yeah, it remains there in your eyes. Whatever comes and goes, I will hear your silent call. I will touch these tender walls.
Go ahead, applaud, please.
And we are live. What's up, everybody? We are live Tuesday night, back again on our Tuesday. You are tuned in to episode 98 of the Young Lion podcast. I got the brothers with me in the building. Let's get into it. You're watching Young Lion TV.
Young Lion, go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah. Go and fight people in, woo.
He didn't even realize what he
No,
did.
he didn't.
either.
I thought I hit 8 and I hit 9.
That was the
My
outro.
bad.
That was the outro, not the intro.
Wait,
But it's all
let's
good.
fix-
Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and start fighting? Everywhere I look, they're hiding.
All right, there it is.
That's the right one, John.
I
John.
mean, it's almost
And I'm
episode.
unmuted.
It's almost episode 100. So you figure we'll get, we'll get the hang of it.
My bad. I was reaching
No.
across the room here to get these keys.
You're doing multiple jobs.
Just
You're
on
doing-
behalf of him, he hasn't been here for the whole 100.
That's true. That's true. He's the newest addition. Yo, y'all look mad dark.
Yeah, maybe we gotta go up on that.
We
the
need-
lights pulled back too far.
Need some
that's
more
why.
light on y'all over there.
It's back further than
He told me to turn the white light down. So
That's the wrong light you're talking about, buddy.
Oh.
still dark.
Nah, that's better.
It's better.
That is better.
It is better.
All right. Well, let's get into it, guys. Shout out to everybody who's watching right now. Emma already said, greetings, guys. Hope you're starting the month with positive vibes. Absolutely. Always.
Positive vibration, yeah.
Iron Heights. We want to tell you about Rastaman vibrations. Yeah. Positive. Yeah, very positive, man. I'm coming off of a great time we had over the weekend for my birthday. Everybody came out to AC.
Not me.
You didn't come, but
We asked you to come,
We
though.
tried to get you to come, but you didn't want to come.
Not for that price.
Oh yeah.
Nah, we was going. We was
still-
going to take care of you, man. It's
Yeah,
all-
but I got a dog, and mom can't watch the dog.
Okay. Well, I had a good time with everybody.
Yeah.
You
it was
know,
fun.
matter of fact, I got a little picture we can throw up to show the crew in the building.
The restaurant was, one of those fancy restaurants where you get the portions are so small, but the price is ridiculous.
Yeah,
But it was great.
Did you and Jake coordinate your outfits?
No, we didn't.
it would be nice if the audience could see the picture.
Well, I can't see your screen
Yeah, slacking
not?
over there.
because I don't have my monitor. Remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
The cord's broken. I gotta get a new
Corro.
one.
I'm gonna get you a new cord. Yeah. So the crew was, all in the building, and the restaurant was a little over.
Overpriced.
Not only overpriced, it was I don't know what the word is, but it was just like it didn't live up to
Underwhelming.
Yes, that's the word.
Underwhelming.
Underwhelming. What's up, Rach?
You pay. It was the same thing you told me about the other place where you pay all this, all this money for it, and the service is not to the level of
Right.
what you pay.
What you would expect
Yeah.
for that price range. Usually when you're in that price range where like the dishes come out super small and it's supposed to be all fancy, you expect like certain kind of service, you know.
we had dishes missing.
Yeah. Dishes
We had dishes coming out on one plate that was ordered
for separate people.
Separate
yeah.
people.
Yeah. It was weird, man. And then the funniest was when James got that octopus.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to James. James isn't here right now.
Wish we had that on
I know.
video.
James got that octopus. James ordered this you know, he always getting on you for being cheap, but he saw that $4 price on the menu and was like, yeah, give me that octopus. And that thing came out. It was a little sliver.
It was like they cut it with the what's it called? One of those a razor.
Yes.
And how they cut the
Like
the garlic, you know, they cut
They
the
use
garlic
they
with
use
the
a
razor.
katana.
blade.
Hello,
The
it was
blade,
they use
yeah.
a katana blade, sir.
Okay.
It's a Japanese.
Really.
That's a little.
Regardless.
In the
Like,
sushi restaurants, the real ones, that's how they do it.
that
It's
made
sword,
no
is it really?
sense.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
His
they
face,
do.
His face was literally
Look
like,
it up. Let me see.
No, in Japan, I'm telling you, 100%
Yo,
facts.
I had they did they were cutting with this like it's like the smaller katana, I forget what
Yeah.
it's called. But then they would also like if you had like habusaki, they would put the sake
I
bomb.
forgot this guy lived
Yeah.
in freaking Japan.
Yeah.
They would put it on top of the cup and then they would hit it with the sword and knock it into the cup.
Yeah, he forgets a lot too. Like he didn't set up a camera for himself either. So
Yeah,
he's off his game today.
I got a lot going on.
Yeah, you was too busy trying to take pictures with the new toy.
It's a nice camera.
All right, so yeah, shout out. We got in the building. We got Moan with me. We got Jake. I thought I was gonna wear a gray hoodie today,
Wow, that would have been.
and I changed my mind last second.
Shout out to
we
Rachel.
got
Shout out
gray
to Rachel who
hoodies.
just showed up in the building.
Hey, Rach. Gray hoodies, black hats.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Shine-
got a gray hoodie too.
Yeah. No one can see
Yeah.
it, but it's all good.
Yours is a darker gray.
It's a nicer one.
But yeah, so that was a good start for me to the month. You know, having all y'all.
Yeah,
You
man.
know, good end of the month.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was good hanging with everybody.
Yeah.
Wasn't good taking that ride home for me, but
Yeah, y'all left late, man. It would have
Yeah.
been cool if y'all stayed. But yeah, it was fun. So yeah, shout out to everybody watching. You know, drop a little comment, hit the share button, you know, all that good stuff. Naomi said hello, good evening, praise God. What's up,
Hey,
Naomi?
What up?
So yeah, please hit the share button for us, hit the like button, and you know, leave a comment, say hello. And you can chime in at any point if we're talking about something that you want to chime in about. Also, if you want to support, go to patreon.com/YoungLionTV and become a member. So, how y'all doing, man?
good. Let's talk about some things.
Yeah, but
Let's get into it.
first, you know, how y'all feeling about everything? How's everything going? Anything happened since I seen y'all on the weekend?
You mean since Sunday?
Yeah,
Or one day?
Since church.
No, not much.
not much.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay.
You know, always stuff is always happening. I talked to you yesterday.
Yeah.
We talked to Aaron. That was a good
Yeah.
conversation.
Abel,
Yeah, he called me yesterday.
how's he doing?
He's doing good, you know, the usual, you know, it's the same thing everybody's kind of dealing with right now. You know, I think there's a serious fight going on inside of people for trying to be faithful and also trying to not be caught up in the same thing we were talking about at church, like being in that cycle
Yeah.
and being drawn into that repetitive cycle that you do where like you try and then you fall back and you try and you fall back.
You try, and then you wonder why.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the tenet.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the quantum physics.
The quantum. What's it called?
I gotta watch that movie.
Time reversal symmetry.
Yeah. But yeah.
Uh,
I looked that movie up, yo. I don't think he looks like Denzel to me.
He doesn't, but that's his son.
Yeah, that's his son.
Wait, you were saying? Okay, I thought it was someone's last name when you guys were talking about it, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
No, he literally said Denzel Washington's son.
Yeah, I thought the guy's last name was Washington's son. I was like,
No.
"Yo, who is that?"
He thought his name was Washington's son.
I didn't even know he had a kid.
Oh, wow.
He got a few kids.
Oh, I didn't know.
Washington's son.
Let me see. There's some stuff that we wanted to bring up. Okay, so Dr. Seuss
was
Everybody heard
canceled.
about Dr. Seuss
I
today.
heard
This
about
is
that.
in the news today.
Yeah.
Dr. Seuss is now, because today was his birthday or something, right? Wasn't today some significant
Yeah,
Dr.
because
Seuss
my
day?
kid, well, my son, the youngest one, he had to wear a green shirt for Dr. Seuss.
For the Grinch or something?
He said the
Maybe.
youngest one.
The youngest.
My youngest son.
Yeah, but he has a name, sir.
I know that's what the way you refer.
I mean,
to
nobody knows his name. so-
the youngest one.
But yeah.
my 4-year-old, 3-year-old.
So it was all in the news about how whatever the publisher is that publishes his books took 8 of them off the list,
I think it was 6.
6 or 8, yeah, because of offensive content. And Mon was asking like, well, what is some of this offensive content?
Well,
So-
I already know it's racist or
yeah, but I have a picture that kind of might hit home for you, my friend.
me
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was one of the examples that they showed.
Okay. It's an Asian guy with a bowl of rice.
And chopsticks.
We do like rice.
But I think it's more about like the way they drew his face and the eyes that is offensive.
I mean,
Are you offended by this, sir? I must ask.
no, I am not. It looks like an Asian guy.
Yeah, and I'm sure
He's got rice in his hand.
I'm sure
I get it.
I'm sure it's has something to do with the story. I don't know 100%. I just
I
know
don't
that
know
this
what
was
the
one of the
story-
images that they were
But
talking about.
What kind of hat is he wearing?
Some
Looks like an umbrella.
It-
I guess that's supposed to be like the Raiden hat. You know what I mean?
right.
It's the farmer. It's the farmer hat.
ancient-
The
yeah.
rice hat.
Because you know them Asians
Chinese.
don't like no sun. They want all the blockage
Yes.
they can get. But yeah, so that was in the news today.
They
Thought
don't-
that was
Asians don't want to be. We talked about that in the early couple episodes of
yeah,
of our podcast.
yeah,
It's funny how like it's this crazy amount of policing going on.
yeah, man.
It's a lot of canceling.
Especially like a lot of books are being taken off of Amazon. A lot of people are being censored right now.
Yeah, my pillow guy is like, was it like 8 stores now that's not selling his stuff?
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy. Like,
We got the Equality Act.
yeah,
That's a whole nother.
Tell everybody what that is.
I don't know what that is.
You
What's
don't
it?
know what that is?
No, what is it?
It just got passed in the
in the house.
House. Hopefully, it don't get past the Senate. But I mean, basically, it's a fake equality because it basically gives gender like any what's it called? I guess I'll just say LGBT and the whole queer theory a platform.
Mm.
So and you have to like it can come against what you say.
Mm-hmm.
You can get fired if you say the wrong pronoun.
Right.
You know, it can come against like who you hire. Like if a church doesn't want to hire
Yeah.
LGBT, like because that's
Or officiate a wedding. You know.
I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. It's like equality based off of how I view equality, and that's not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gray Hoodies United.
Who said that?
Huh?
Who said that?
Steve.
Steve O. What's up, buddy?
So yeah, that hopefully it doesn't get passed. If it does, you know, it's gonna be a whole lot more we're gonna have to learn.
It's like you can't believe what I don't know.
But it's
They try to regulate everything.
but that's the policing I'm talking about, you know. And when you think about policing, like you're upholding something, right? Police uphold the law,
Right.
but when you don't know what the law, when you're making it up as you go,
Right.
that's literally what's happening. Where do you get your foundation from? Where do you get your law from? Where do you get?
Well, that's the thing. We're voting for these people that are supposed to be the creators of the law. You know, they establish what the laws are.
That's what the House does, right?
That's what I'm saying. So if we keep voting in the people that that's their agenda, that's their ideology, they're gonna keep legislating in that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why when
It's-
people try to act like they shouldn't be engaged in politics, it's like
They don't even abide by their own laws, rules, and regulations that they put in place.
yeah,
You know, it's like they're just trying to please the mob.
right.
I think when people like saw like, oh, you know, gay marriage, it's like, well, people, they deserve the right to get married, but
Right.
the people don't understand that it's a slippery slope. When you start redefining things, where do you draw the line?
Right.
There's no line,
Right.
you know, and that's
It's the
the
same.
problem.
It's the same argument with abortion. It's like
Yeah.
when do you determine when life starts? You know,
Right.
And you see now, you know, even with some of the executive orders where they're pushing all the way up through birth, you know, to be able to abort a baby. So it's like there really is no, like you said, once that door opens, it just continues to get cracked more and more and more until you're like, how did we get here?
Goalpost keeps on moving.
You know, and then you got people that are clearly in there just to make a name for themselves. They're doing what, like you said, what looks good to the mob. They don't really care about the effects of it. I mean, look at what is going on with Cuomo now in New York.
Yep. Now
You know.
everybody is saying,
He had to do something to piss somebody off because they've all turned their backs on him now.
yeah,
Like Hillary Clinton even came out saying he should be investigated.
yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
You have like 3 people come out so far.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the nursing
Something-
home stuff. And I
Oh,
think the this whole like Me Too thing could possibly be a distraction
Right from
from
What's-
the
yeah,
nursing
what's-
home thing, which is even
what's worse,
Right.
like being responsible for how many
it's like
deaths
9,000 people
Yeah.
that he's responsible
that
for dying.
or
Really?
you know
Yeah.
doing something you're not supposed to be doing with women.
Yeah,
know?
like
What's
literally
worse?
a couple days before all of these like inappropriate touching accusations came out, he was under investigation and getting a bunch of scrutiny because one of his aides leaked the fact that they covered up the number of deaths that happened in the nursing homes because they thought they were going to get in trouble.
Yeah,
Because he's the one that legislated, he's the one that came up with that order to move all the sick patients into nursing homes. When they had the Javits Center, they had that boat that they
nobody was in.
Nobody was in that they sent out.
So you
Remember
had
all
all
the
the room.
emergency hospital beds that they needed? And once all that got delivered and it was there and accessible, he decided to move a bunch of sick people into nursing homes, which shot up the death count
yeah,
like drastically in the beginning. So once they felt like they might get in trouble for that, they started covering up the numbers of people that were dying. And now all of that, and even one of his aides, I think it was last week or the week before, admitted it, and it got leaked to the public. So now it's like
that Asian dude, right? The guy that said that he Cuomo was
harassing him.
him. And-
Yeah, no, I think that was the journalist that
Threatening him.
leaked it. I think his aide was a girl, but the journalist is the journalist that leaked it was the guy that Cuomo.
Threat.
Cuomo that Cuomo was threatening, to ruin his career. He was basically trying to mob style mafia boss him.
That's what these governors remind me of.
Yeah.
They remind me of the mobs you see in the movies, man.
But it was so funny to see how like all of these people who were championing him as the COVID hero gave him an Emmy. Everyone was praising him in the media.
Yeah.
He's the best. He should run for president.
He's a shadow president.
Yeah, and then now all of a sudden it's like he's a pariah now.
It blows my mind how nobody wants to take responsibility for their actions.
Yeah,
And I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about all those people that praised him, but then now they want to turn on him.
yeah,
And it's all about saving my own
Mhm.
face,
yeah. His
Where-
own brother.
How
included.
how can I not look at myself? I got to point the finger at somebody else,
Yeah.
and you're seeing that so much right now.
There's a video on from CNN of his brother finally speaking out on why he's not going to touch this. You know what I mean? I think that came out yesterday.
Oh,
But
yeah.
he like
I didn't
he
see it.
literally talks about how he's not going to report on this, even though they were during the pandemic, they were doing all of these like these
that was
crazy,
making me sick.
cringy segments with him and his brother. You know,
They were trying to be funny, like during that whole big ass Q-tip thing.
Yeah, that, and you know, just jokes and not really taking stuff serious. And then even Chris Cuomo with pretending to be, you know, in quarantine, and getting caught
when he was clearly not.
Yeah, so it's a lot. It's a lot of crazy stuff happening with Cuomo now, and I think that it could possibly be that they threw this out there to deflect. Because you know the tactics of, especially like in politics, like they will do anything to change the narrative. So now the narrative is, you know, something that he can come out and apologize for and say he's grown, you know what I mean? Rather than, no one's talking about the 9,000 people that died or whatever the number is. Everyone's just talking about,
I think it might be more than that.
These 3 women that said he touched them or like touched their face or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a different, the story is changing now, you know?
So does that seem like our issue, like in this country? Or maybe not just in this country, but even right now we're seeing, you know, people eating their own.
Yeah.
But that's how like communities break down. Once something happens, a lot of times what do people do? They try to cover it up. And when it comes out, they start pointing the finger at everybody.
Yeah.
You know? And I think is that the difference between what the church is supposed to be and what the world is supposed to be, or what the world is? You know, I don't want to say supposed to be, but what the world is.
Yeah.
Is that in the Christendom world, and what we're truly supposed to be is people that are more giving of ourselves, not placing the blame.
Yeah.
You know, of course we you know, testify or report on the truth.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not supposed to be placing blame. It's all about taking responsibility.
Right.
You know, how can we overcome these things? And you're not seeing that in the world. You're not seeing that on the news right now. You're not seeing that in the government right now, you know, with the Equality Act. Like, it's only because of the pressure from these they're minorities,
right.
You know, but they have a loud voice, you know, that they're even considering these things. It's a lot of the Democrats as a whole are not that progressive, but it's the leftist progressives that are moving this.
Right.
You know,
they're the ones
because they're
trying
the loudest
to aggressively move the needle.
And when you think about it, why? Because they're the ones that are pointing the finger the most.
Right.
So now what happens is you don't want the finger pointed at you. So now the people who are less progressive are now trying to get out of the way of the finger, and trying to point it back at somebody else. Mm-hmm. Like, no, I want to be on your side.
Yeah.
You know, it's them over there.
I want to point too. Yeah. Yeah. The thing that's crazy about it is like, especially for like a lot of these far left ideologies, is that the very thing that you say you're like championing or like trying to fight against, you're actually pushing those same things. Like you're forcing people. You're saying that you're against fascism, but you're forcing people to do things.
Yeah.
You know, you're saying
isn't that the definition of fascist?
Yeah. You're saying you're anti-racist, but then you want to separate everyone into their races, and you want to totally isolate people by what the stereotype of a race is, and say that you're white, so you're this, and you're black, so you're this.
Prime example. What just happened with Coca-Cola?
Yeah, Coca-Cola.
Prime example.
Which is directly related to that lady that wrote the White Fragility book, because she's the one that came and did the talk at Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
So in the name of diversity training, you know, she was telling people you have to learn to be less white.
Yeah, and I feel like that has doing something like that. It has more of a negative effect.
Well, think
Like,
about it. You're literally going in there and telling people, if you're white, you're
oppressive.
You're smarter. You're more superior.
Yeah.
You make more money. You're literally laying out all of the things that we're not supposed to like that. You're telling them they're superior.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're telling them that. So it's like, it's just weird. It's weird to take that approach. Like, you need to acknowledge your privilege. So it's like, oh, so I am better.
But again, what is it doing? It's pointing the finger.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't.
what it's doing.
You want to not. You got to acknowledge your privilege, but I'm not going to acknowledge mine.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have some privilege in some things,
Right.
No, I don't. See, that's what What are we talking about? It's the time symmetry.
But for this lady is a college educated white woman, you know what I mean, who is teaching people about white fragility.
Okay, well, she's pointing the finger back.
But this is what I'm saying. So she's actually doing these seminars, these diversity training seminars, making hundreds of thousands of dollars off of telling,
Pointing the finger at people.
off of telling black people or white people how they're oppressive. You know what I mean?
Pointing the finger.
So it's like even her doing that is her capitalizing off of her whiteness in a way. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because she's the
Right.
authority of
Right.
It's like you're even a walking
But
hypocrisy.
but that's what it continues the cycle. Nothing ever breaks.
Right.
It just keeps the cycle going, right? Where all we're doing is pointing at something, but where's the solution? Where's the thing that breaks that, right?
Yeah.
Where's the thing that breaks that flow that's going on? If you're pointing at it, it's just pointing back at you,
Right.
And so we got to get past that, and it's not going to be from. It's not going to be from education.
Right.
It's got to come from the church.
All right, let's play this clip of Cuomo.
The meathead.
I'm aware of
Cuomo.
what's going on with my brother. And obviously, I cannot cover it because he is my brother.
Well, you can't cover the story because it involves close family member. Okay, we don't need all the music. During an awkward announcement, he also assured viewers it's an issue he takes seriously.
I have always cared very deeply about these issues, and profoundly so.
So, but the thing to me is that he comes out and makes a whole statement and becomes the news headline, but it's only addressing the allegations. That's what I'm saying. Like, they totally moved the narrative away from
the
the nursing homes and that whole scandal and him like literally causing deaths. You know what I mean? Like, they totally took this and spun it away from that. And it just seems too convenient to me.
Right.
It's weird. But yeah, I just wanted to show that.
He can't cover it because it's his brother, but he can cover it when his brother was the golden child of COVID
That's what I'm saying.
governors.
He can cover
handling.
that. He can cover that. That's the hypocrisy of it.
So remember, I gave you that link last week for the queer theory.
Yes.
I don't know if you're not doing anything.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
There is a long correlation between anarchism and pedophilia and support for pedophilia. Oh, wait. That's a beautiful line. Thank you so much for asking. How about something relevant? I've been talking about rape culture all day, and pedophilia and the support of pedophilia is not rape culture? Actually, it seems you're acting like this is a spurious connection.
All right, first of all, can we address who is this guy that we're watching? Do you know?
I don't remember his name. He's let me see. I think I wrote it down. Yeah, I don't remember. I think his last name is Deloritis.
But I'm saying, like, what does he do?
He
Why are we listening to him?
he's a left, he leans very left.
Right.
He's I think they call him an extreme environmentalist.
Okay.
But he teaches at university. I don't know which
So he's
one.
a professor.
He's a professor.
Yeah.
And he's talking about pedophilia
And how it's
linked to
to
queer theory,
the queer theory agenda.
which has to do with the Equality Act.
Right,
Everything
right.
basically that we're dealing
Everything
with
that they
right now.
champion, all of the things that they teach in these colleges stems from the book that was written on queer theory.
Right.
And he goes into that on this, and that's what he's bringing up. And even the students don't want to hear it. You can
Yeah.
hear in their reactions, like
Not all the students.
not all
but-
of them, but mostly like you could tell.
Yeah, the demon possessed one.
All right, so let's go back from the top.
There is a long correlation between anarchism and pedophilia and support for pedophilia. Oh, wait. That's a beautiful line. Thank you so much for asking. How about something relevant? I've been talking about rape culture all day, and pedophilia and the support of pedophilia is not rape culture? Actually, it seems you're acting like this is a spurious connection. So we're going to play Jeopardy. We're going to play queer theory. We're going to play queer theory pedophilia Jeopardy. Okay, answer. Commonly called the godfather of queer theory. Who is Foucault? I got it. Okay, 100 points.
So
Foucault. Another way to ask this.
Okay.
So his name is Michael Foucault.
Michael Foucault.
He's a French dude. He's called the godfather of queer theory.
Mm-hmm.
I think they might say that in there.
That's
Well,
that
that's
was
what
the
he just
question.
said. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And he was arguing against and contesting laws for infants,
Right.
like the age of consent, basically down to infants. I'm sorry, contesting
which
it
is
down
what
to
he
infants.
goes into with the answer.
Right,
Here.
right.
Who argued? No, I guess the answer would be argued for the eradication of age of consent laws, as in down to infants.
Who is Foucault?
Thank you.
Okay, next one. The author of the founding document of queer theory.
They know them
Gail
answers
Rubin?
right away.
What percentage? No, the answer is 50%. Question is,
The amount in that article that was a defense of pedophilia, specifically, quote, boy lovers, so men who fuck boys.
oh,
So the article that was written about queer theory, 50% of that article was dedicated to pedophilia and specifically men who love boys.
Right.
And a lot of this
50%.
right, and a lot of that is what the NAMBLA thing is. You know what NAMBLA is, right? National Association of Man Boy or National
Oh yeah, you
something,
mentioned that before.
Man Boy Love Association.
NAMBLA, yeah. And there was another one. There's a
Yeah.
North American
Man
Boy
Love Association. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's if you see like a lot of the people that are apparently tied to that association, it's scary.
Yeah. So I'll read a little bit of who she. Gail Rubin is thought of as one of the core theorists of queer theory, and is like Foucault before her. Oh, okay, before her. She made the case for legislation and acceptance of pedophilia, arguing on the grounds of child consent. So same
Right.
thing. According to Rubin, restricting child pornography is actually an attack against sexual civil liberties. So you see how there is no limit. And they
Right.
they say it in their founding documents.
Yeah.
The people who made up these theories,
Right.
they're talking about this. So it's not like it can't go there.
And these are the people that they basically worship in these circles of queer theory and like what they teach in the universities. And when you look in the legislation that's trying to be passed in California, we talked about this on here before, where they're trying to, crack open that door, like we said, with the age of consent and how someone can be prosecuted if someone is at least 10 years younger than them. Even if they're a minor, they're a minor,
So what are they put this under civil liberties, right?
Right.
Equality Act
Right.
is about civil liberties. It's
Right.
connected to the 14th Amendment.
Right.
This is where a lot of this stuff goes back to, the 14th, how they pervert the liberties brought to the slaves and they pervert it for other things.
Right.
And they're getting a lot of their basis off of these.
That's why a lot of the Black Lives Matter activists that I see on Twitter are like pissed right now, because they got out there and they really pushed for Biden to get elected, and now they're seeing like all the stuff that he's pushing through in his first 5 weeks or so is more so for the LGBTQ community, not really much of anything for the Black community.
Yeah.
But
and we can talk about them too.
Right,
a
of
little
course.
bit.
But I'm just saying, like, that's how they tie these civil liberties to a movement that you as a Black person are pushing for these things because you're like, yeah, this includes me. But it's like, no.
Yeah.
It never does.
And it always is connected to.
Didn't we talk about that? Didn't James say that, like, how black people are like the face of the minority?
Yeah.
And then there's all these other groups that just take advantage of,
Yeah.
the black face.
That was the Bill Burr joke on SNL that he got in trouble for.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was talking about how like white women jump to the head of the line of minorities all of a sudden. Like they just found a way to. He was like, you weren't saying all of that when, back in the day when people were getting whipped and you're standing right there benefiting from it. You know what I mean? Now all of a sudden you want to be at the top of the minority food chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it goes back to law. Like it goes back to, first of all, words.
Yeah.
Definitions.
Right.
What does something mean? Because if you can make it if you feel a way about something, then you can make it mean whatever you want to make it mean. And then
Right.
And then how do you define something? And you see how a lot, even Webster Dictionary is starting to redefine things based off of the pop culture, how we view it or how the culture views it. So even in terms of culture will define how you define life. Culture will start to define your life.
Right.
And the more subservient you are to that culture is the more you're going to define your life by the culture. So that's why culture is important, but it's about what you're culturing,
Right.
what you're cultivating.
Couple comments. Tiffany, Mike Lopez said, "What's up, cuz? What's up? What up?" Tiffany said, "Stay safe. Hope you guys have a good night. Take care. Love you guys."
Leaving
Love
us
you too.
already?
Yeah. All right. So I'll get back to this clip.
It's nasty, though.
And since you're not believing me, quote, this is in the founding document of queer theory. Like communists and homosexuals in the 1950s, boy lovers are so stigmatized that it is difficult to find defenders of their civil liberties, let alone for their erotic orientation. That's in the founding document of queer theory. I'm sorry, I'm using facts.
But you see how like certain people just they can't handle it. Like they just like, I'm surprised. Like they might be coming for this dude's job.
Right.
He's doing stuff like
He's doing
this.
that in a university.
Yeah.
Thousand apologies. One must never let facts in the way. Oh, and she also compared, by the way, she compared pedophilia. She compared pedophilia to a preference for spicy food. The thing is, I have never heard of anyone who has to have years of therapy because they ate hot and sour soup. Okay, so up to 200. Now
So just think about that rationale. And these are like supposed to be the lauded educational like
These are the
philosophers.
pioneers.
Yeah. But it's just that rationale where it's like, yeah, someone can prefer a young boy the same way you prefer, sriracha. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? What are we talking about?
And
Yeah, but the
again, but what are they saying?
Young-
It's all about your feelings.
Right.
And we talked about this years ago when we would have discussions with, being homosexual
Yeah.
and just how, like, if people think that's okay, then they should think that pedophilia is
Right,
okay because
right.
it's the same. And people,
Yeah.
no,
Right,
there's no way.
right.
But you see now,
They would say, oh, that's crazy. It's
yeah,
like,
It's all about their feeling, but
Right.
they're trying to push, the consent laws. They say this is science, right? Fully developed brain is not developed until you're what, 25?
yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like,
So you're pushing it to like 10-year-olds and 8-year-olds.
right. And there's so many things that we restrict children from consenting to.
They can't even vote.
Yeah, they can't vote. There's so many things that children can't do because they don't. But what are the things
They don't
that-
make smart decisions.
But
They
right-
can't even drive until they're what? In some states it's 16, right?
Yeah, some states it's 17.
I think
But look at the things that they're letting children decide what sex they want to be, and now they're trying to move it into consent. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Which is crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. Like when you think about it, and it's
and why would you put a responsibility like that on a child?
yeah.
They don't need to have a responsibility like that to figure that out. See, that's oppression. A child needs to have fun, play.
Right.
A parent is supposed to be protecting them, covering them, guarding them.
Right.
But see, when you're open to everything, you got to let your child be open to everything.
Right.
But then you're going to get attacked and your child's going to get attacked.
And they need structure. They need rules. They need, because they don't have understanding enough. It's like we were talking about at church, a child that wants candy all the time. If you just say, well, that's what they want.
All right.
This is what they want. You know what I mean? You're killing your child.
That's exactly like they don't know right from wrong. Like
Right.
it's your job as a parent to guide them.
Right. Because
That's not nutritious, son.
If you let your children pick what they want to eat all the time, they will die.
It's gonna be
Okay.
It's gonna be ice creams and
But
oodles and noodles.
this is what I'm saying. So it's like, why do we have that understanding there, but with other things, there's this gray area?
Because we can't uphold the law.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's why we got Jesus, because he made it make sense to us. Like, none of us have a clear-cut, fully understanding of how it all works.
Right.
Right? But we don't have to take on that responsibility. And that's the beauty of God. Like, he takes away the burden of responsibility. And the burden of proof is always on the prosecutor. You know what I mean? So it's always on the person pointing the finger, right? That's what the accuser of the brethren, that's what Satan does. It's always on him. But if God takes that away, he got no proof.
Right.
And when we're living in this world of how I feel, I have to always prove myself. So now I got to prosecute anybody around me that doesn't line up to it so that I can live the life I want to live. But then somebody's going to come at me. So you see how communities break down. It gets more and more caught up into tribalism because you're only going to be around the people that sound like you, talk like you, feel like you. And then eventually that breaks apart because it just goes into more chaos, And that was the point. Like when the angels came down, what did they do? They took what they were supposed to uphold, keep, right? Honor, and they dishonored it.
Right.
And then they put that,
And then they used it to subjugate humans under them.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it just breaks and breaks and breaks and breaks and breaks down. It breaks down. It's corruption. It corrupts. Corruption corrupts.
Right.
So you're just going to get more and more and more corruption. You know, this is basics.
Right.
How can't we see this? Because we're corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
We need God. And it's not their responsibility. Like, how they don't know. So where's the church?
Right.
Why don't we take the responsibility and put it to where it needs to be put? I don't know how to do it. I can give it to Jesus.
I think the church is too busy trying to engage in
The battle, right?
tactics.
Yeah. They're trying to engage in a battle that they're not supposed to be fighting.
Right.
We uphold it, but we don't point back at somebody. You know what I mean? We don't get. We're engaging in the same thing. We're accusing you accusing me. Like, no, we uphold the law.
Right.
No, that's not right. This is what it is. And when you attack me, I don't attack you. I give it to God. Right. People, when somebody speaks stuff at it, when you get in it, somebody's calling you all kinds of names. It's not like you don't feel it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like it doesn't, like, oh, that just bounces right off of me.
Yeah.
No, you can feel it, especially when it's people that are close to you or, you know, people you have some admiration for. But when we can reconcile that with Jesus, when we can take that, give it to him, right? Nowhere because he can bear it.
Right.
I can't bear it.
Right.
But I got to be real with my feelings. If I'm not real with my feelings, what happens? Now I'm creating this false reality for myself where now I'm engaged because I feel like I can be responsible for something that I got no business engaging in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now I'm engaging in this thing. And what's happening? The enemies, he's doing it because he's pointing out all my flaws.
Yeah.
And now I'm just succumbing to him and I'm trying to prove myself. He's accusing me, right? He's prosecuting me. But it's like, yo, you don't have to defend yourself. The burden is on him.
Mm-hmm.
Your prosecutor is Jesus. You don't have to defend yourself. Let him be your he's the greatest defender, you know what I mean, of all time.
Right.
But do we, like, I get people that are but do we believe this as so-called Christians? Like, do we believe this?
It's hard. It's easier said than done. A lot of people struggle with that. Like any little situation where, you know, we've been there.
I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about leaders.
Yeah,
where are the leaders?
Right.
You know, I know they're out there. I know there are some, but I'm saying just on whole.
I know what you're saying. Like they're out there, but what job are they doing where this is not something that people we all just know as Christians? This isn't something that we're all being built up in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like where is the church and all of this in that way where it's like. Because like you said, it's not about denying your emotions or denying what you feel by something happening to you or someone coming and offending you, right? Mm-hmm. But it's about being able to give it over to God and not feel the need to defend yourself and engage. And I think eventually you do get to a point where it doesn't bother you.
Yeah.
Eventually, as you grow in that, and as you're taught, like how to honestly see why they're even doing it. It's not, you know, seeing why this dynamic is happening and get the ability to discern all those situations. Then all of a sudden, you don't even see it as them attacking you. You see the bigger picture.
We don't war against flesh and blood,
right?
Yeah, and that's wisdom.
Right.
But in order to come to that wisdom, you got to go through the testing. The testing is the fire, right? And then you can be the fire that keeps guard. Fire is a firewall that keeps guard, right? That's police.
Right.
Like we're policing, but how are we going to police if we don't know how to serve and protect? We got to serve. So literally like every time we can't bear it, we give it to him. He bears it. See, that's a responsibility I can't take because I don't know how to take it. But then through my process, I'm able to bear something that I couldn't bear before.
Right.
I'm able to be responsible for something I couldn't be responsible before. We're learning, you know what I mean? Like we're learning to be led by him so that we can come into more and more. And then, yeah, like you said, now it doesn't affect me like it would affect me before.
Right.
You know, I was thinking about today, like somebody like look at this is like the way the world thinks. If I give you something, right now, do you feel uncomfortable and feel like you got to pay me back in a different way?
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're indebted to me now.
Or just I feel guilty. Like, oh, why did you do that? Why did you give me something? Right. I feel guilty. So now am I going to act out of that guilt? Right. But really, that's not how God works. That's the fallen. It's about pay. Right. That's how we work. It's about you owe me, I owe you.
Right.
You know, that's a merchant. That's
the Babylon
That's
way.
a Babylon economy, right? But God's economy doesn't work like that. It's literally on giving and receiving, and what we give is our thanks. You know, I appreciate, even if somebody does it with the wrong intention, I can still receive from them and appreciate them. You know what I mean? And then they might even get offended by me not doing what they thought I should do back.
Right.
But we can learn in that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And either you're going to be offended and stay offended, or you're going to...
It's funny that because the way you're describing that is literally the dynamic of why cancel culture can exist, is because when you are super subservient to this Babylonian economy, you are indebted in so many ways, and people can lord that over you. Right. So it's like, oh, you have to play ball, or else, you know, we'll come for you. We'll take your job away. We'll take, you know, you won't be able to access your bank account. You won't be able to, you know, stream on YouTube. You know, I was thinking about that when we were playing this clip earlier, like, oh, are they going to take this down? You know what I mean? But like, that's what it is. Like, when you're dipping your toe in them Babylonian waters, man.
You think that's why a lot of these leaders, church leaders, probably aren't, you know, stepping up because they don't want to get canceled?
Not only that, they don't want to lose what they've built a lot of times, because when they know that if they say certain things, they'll lose members. They know that they'll offend people. They know that they will be shunned by the overarching church authority that kind of they all, you know, it's the
same umbrella.
It's the culture. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about these cultures. It's just like in the black community. Like, if you say certain things, they don't mess with you no more. You ain't black. You know what I mean? Like Joe Biden said, you don't vote for me, you ain't black. If you wear a MAGA hat, you ain't black. Like, we can't mess with you. So anymore.
Like Ben Carson, the brain surgeon. Is not black.
Yeah.
So like,
because he's Republican.
He's not.
But it's cancel culture, but it's the same thing as being shunned.
Right.
It's the same thing.
It's just that it
out
can,
of your community.
It can affect you more because it can literally, you know, take away your way to feed yourself and your family.
Yeah.
You know?
But see, in that, it's like, are you gonna really trust God?
But that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying cancel culture can only exist because you don't. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because we live outside of that realm.
So maybe it's showing us what we lack.
Exactly.
As the church.
Exactly.
Even I was thinking about, like, you know, everybody's crying police reform. Maybe because when you think about police reform, it's about people guarding, right?
Yeah.
Protecting and serving, guarding what you have.
Right.
So maybe as a church in the world, maybe we need police reform. Maybe we need to change the way we guard things.
Right, we guard things.
Yeah.
Right, we police.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's real.
So like the reflection is, it's pointing back at us. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, it's a time symmetry thing, right? Where it points back at us,
right.
But don't point back. Be the stopping power that says, let me give this to God.
Right.
He's the solution, right? So then it just doesn't keep on cycling.
Right.
Now it stops because I stand in the way. I stand in the gap.
Right.
And I see what people are crying out. We need reform, police reform.
Yeah.
That is a manifestation of something that needs to happen spiritually. You know what I mean? All these things, they're manifestations of things that have to happen spiritually.
Right.
And when we worship in spirit first, right? Then truth.
Right.
Spirit, truth, then, oh, it's getting back into line.
Yeah.
But when we're trying to, that's Babylon. When we worship in spirit and a lie, now it's like, well, I feel guilty, so let me try to do what I need to do because I feel guilty. I want you to see me the way I'm this.
Yeah.
I'm this type of, and we get caught up in that thing, and that's where the confusion gets in. You know what I mean? Because I feel like, because I got to uphold this idea or this image that isn't even really true. And you know it by having to pay back. You know it by having to, why are you giving? Are you giving out of genuinely wanting to give without wanting to receive anything in return? Why? That's why Jesus talked about that. You know, why are we giving? Where's our heart in giving, and where's our heart in receiving? You know, if I can receive from somebody without feeling uncomfortable and just be in gratitude because they gave to me and can see a good in that, you know what I mean? That shifts the dynamic. You know, now it's not a cycle. It's not a secular thing where I'm cyclical. Thank you. It's not a cyclical.
Cyclical.
You know when you get stuck in words. Yeah. It's not a cyclical thing where
Happens to me all the time.
where you're going. You know, you're just stuck in this cycle, and you're like, why? Why I keep doing this? Why do I keep going through this? Why do I keep going through these things? You know, but we're real with ourselves. I keep going through this. I don't know how to do it, right? Because if I'm trying to do it, now I'm trying to worship a wrong image, a wrong God. I'm worshiping in spirit and alive. But Jesus said to the woman, he said, you worship a God that you don't know. Salvation is of the Jews, right? I was thinking about that because it's connected to giving. Because Judah is connected to, Judah comes from praise, right? Everybody knows Judah praise, but it's really connected to thanksgiving, right? And it's really connected to Yad. Yad is a hand, and it's a giving hand. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
So it's really about what you give, and really it's connected to, I don't know, and I got this burden, let me give it to God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know you can do it. Thank you that I have an output. I have an outlet to be able to give because you did it all. You bore it all. I can give it. I don't have to bear this because I don't know how to bear it.
Right.
And that's honesty. Because what's happening right now, everybody's going into feelings, but they don't know how to interpret it, right?
Right.
And how do we get an interpretation? By a true understanding from where it came from. So now, the interpretation of scripture, where does it come from, right? Interpretation of music, where does it come from, right? Music, we do music. If we can't interpret the sound, then we're going to be off in the tone. We're going to be off tonally, right? So I might hear my father speaking to me, but I misinterpret it, and now I feel like I got to live up to something, right? His tone with me, I got to, okay, Dad, what do you mean? What do you mean, Dad?
Right.
If I don't seek him in his tone, I'm going to be off in receiving, right? So now I'm trying to live up to a tone that I didn't even perceive right. That's the whole feelings thing, you know? So we're like caught up in this, like this false reality of who we are, image wise, image bearing. We're bearing a false image, right? But God is teaching us, I want you to bear my image. You know, how do you bear my image? And so then he brought salvation from the Jews who, what did they do? They learned Judah was the first one in the battle. Why? Because Judah cast their cares on the Lord, right? So salvation had to come through the Jews, right? Had to come through Judah. And what is salvation? Yeshua means Yeshua.
Right.
So of course, Yeshua. And if we have Yeshua, if we have salvation, that means we gave it to God and then he gave us back salvation, right? He gave us back. He saved us in an area where we couldn't save ourselves. You know what I mean? Now we're seeing it in the right way.
Right.
And we can move, and now we're free. Now we're living in that law of freedom where, wow, I can move now and I'm light. I don't have this burden. But then the enemy's going to come again to try to accuse us again. Now it gets heavy again. Now I got to give it to him. It's a cycle. But we're moving up
Right.
in how we see ourselves
Right.
and how we can see others. Like, again, it's spirit first. And then, like, when we were talking about this at church, God created man in spirit first. That's Genesis 1. But in Genesis 2, he created man in flesh. So he created man in spirit to be able to connect with God. But then he created man in flesh to be able to connect with woman, right? To be able to connect with people. And if that's off, then you're not going to be connecting right. So if our responsibility is with him, then our responsibility can be to others, but it has to be with him first. And I think we're all so busy trying to tell everybody else how to live that we don't even see him. And, even, that's another thing with Judah. Judah is the number 30, which is the shepherd's rod, So God leads us through the valley of the shadow of death. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me, right? And if we are led by him, we can lead others. But we can't lead others if we're not led by him. And where are we leading others? We're just leading others to turn back to him because we've been saved. Like, Jesus means salvation, right? So the angel said to John, don't worship me, right? Worshiping in spirit and truth. Don't worship me. Worship God, salvation, the testimony of Jesus. We're fellow servants, right? The testimony of Jesus, the testimony of Yeshua, the testimony of salvation is the spirit of prophecy. And what does prophecy do? When you speak a word, you're reporting on what the truth is, right? What I've experienced through me going through the process. And then when I say it, when I speak it out, I'm speaking a true witness of who he is so that people can turn and enter in with him. And it's really like now they can go to the place where I've already been, but I might need to go there again. I'm definitely going to need to go there again. And that's like communion.
Right.
Think about it. That's communion. What do we do continually? The testimony of Jesus. We take the bread.
Right.
I keep talking about this.
I mean, I get what you're saying.
No.
But all these different aspects of the same point.
Because it's so vast.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, it is. It is. It's
and I don't want to keep on going because I'll keep going.
All right. What else were we going to talk about?
Y'all heard about that? I heard this today. Nike executive, she's been working there for a long time. She resigned recently because her son got caught.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we can pull up that article. It's
what was it? Her son
had like a little side business
selling sneakers, reselling
sneakers,
and he was making bank.
Yeah, I think he got caught because he opened a credit card or something like that in her name.
Yeah, and he was buying like $100,000 worth of sneakers and reselling them.
Crazy.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
$132,000 worth of Yeezys on a credit card and resold them for $20,000 profit. 19-year-old son.
19-year.
Yep, you guys are right.
So what was it? She was an executive at Nike, and then he was getting inside tips.
He used her corporate credit card to refund resale sneaker business. I think that was what blew it all up.
So he was using her corporate card to buy this. So I think he was also getting like the inside track of when sneakers were going to get released. So he had early access to stuff that people couldn't get.
Right.
So then he would use the corporate credit card to buy them and then sell them and then pay back the credit card. Like, just
19-year-old, is it?
Hustle, man. Yeah, I did hear about that. Also, did you hear about your boy, the dude from the Swedish team, the soccer player, came out and said something about LeBron James? Ibrahimovic, yeah.
Okay. What did he say?
He basically came out and said like LeBron James should stick to what he's good at and play basketball, because he's always, coming out and speaking on a lot of these social issues.
Yeah.
But he was speaking to the fact that like when it comes to China, he has nothing to say or he doesn't want to get involved, you know. But
a lot of people shut up about China.
oh, they won't say nothing about China
Disney.
now. Disney, NBA,
Yep.
NFL,
Nike.
Nike. Period. They're not gonna say nothing about China. Remember when we were showing the jerseys, how you couldn't get
Right.
certain phrases
Yep.
on the back of the jersey?
Free Hong Kong.
Yeah, all that stuff you couldn't get on the back of jerseys. It wouldn't show up. But yeah, that was in the news because he came out and said that, and people were all mad at him. You know,
He always says stuff. So.
yeah, he's one of those
He's
guys that
yeah.
he runs his mouth a lot.
Yeah.
But
It's not new for him.
yeah, but I just thought it was interesting that he was coming at LeBron a little bit because it was like that dude wants to be involved in all this activism, but only when it don't hurt his pockets.
Right.
You know, it's that false.
But again, like, yeah,
It is.
Yeah.
It's false.
it's not like if you're gonna pride yourself in upholding things, then you're gonna have to uphold everything.
yeah,
Right.
And that's what happens with these people. Like if you don't humble yourself, you'll be humbled.
Right.
You know.
Did
Yeah.
did LeBron ever do research on if they were putting, the Chinese
he ain't going nowhere near that. He ain't going
in
nowhere near that.
concentration camps?
Now his whole thing is I just
I'm
want
just wondering.
to talk about things that affect the community that I come from. You know what I mean? Like that's his whole thing now. He totally
okay.
stepped away from his, the world activism stage. He's just
gotcha.
only focused on what he could, because he knows he got to stay away from those topics.
Right.
What's up, Paul Horner?
What's up, Paul? Speaking of sports, Jake sent me this little video of Tom Brady that
Yeah.
I'm interested in watching.
That was kind of for Moon too.
For Moan too, and John, because John's a Tom Brady hater. So
Any superstitions going into the game?
So let's pull this up. This is Tom Brady talking about superstitions and like the rituals that his wife does. Okay,
Yeah.
and you know she's from Brazil.
Any superstitions going into the game? Any special thing you carried into the game on Sunday that you had tucked away somewhere?
I did. I always, I've learned a lot from my wife
And
over the years.
It says goat.
She's so
Yeah.
about the power of intention, and believing things that are really going to happen. And she always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. And so she put together a little altar for me that I could bring with pictures of my kids. And I have these little special stones and healing stones and protection stones. And she has me wear a necklace and take these drops she makes. And I say all these mantras.
Mantras. Uh-oh.
And I stopped questioning her a
it
long
works.
time ago. I did. I just shut up and listened. And at first I was like, this is kind of crazy. And then about 4 years ago, we were playing the Seahawks, and she said, you better listen to me. This is your year, but this is all the things you're going to have to do to win. And I did all those things, and by God, it worked. It was pretty good. And then in
They barely won
2015,
that Super
it was
Bowl.
about early January, and she said, you know how much I love you? And I said, yeah. And she said, I just want to let you know this is not going to be your year. And of course we lost. I said, what does 16 look like? And she said, 16 is going to be your year. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, I asking, like, do we have a chance? And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work, and you're really going to have to listen to me. So, man, I listened to her. And right after the game, she said, see, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. She said, you're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
The goat, huh? The goat,
goat.
huh? John, look at John's face. John's face.
He probably sacrificing goats.
That's why I don't like them.
Let's add to that list.
I don't even think but so he didn't know any of this, and he's just like, which a lot of people are. They're like, eh. But
Yeah.
then when they start seeing something's working,
Yeah.
they're like, oh,
Well, let me keep doing this. Yeah.
And that's the problem,
Right.
You know, if you're ignorant, you're gonna fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna fall for these things, and that's what you're starting to see. I put that other clip in there of Wanda.
Look at John John's face, like
of WandaVision.
John John's like, I knew it.
But yeah, it's just interesting with him because it's like, how bad do you want to win?
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
How bad-
he literally says his wife is a witch.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He literally says that. It's pretty astonishing. Like
Yeah.
I didn't see. He told me about it, but I didn't watch it. So just seeing that was like crazy.
Yeah.
Like
I never
that
seen-
whole
I
ritual.
never seen-
Yeah.
Like man, and where they come
Shrine.
from, it's like it's just crazy.
I didn't know she was Brazilian.
You didn't know she was Brazilian?
No.
Really?
All those
What?
supermodels are Brazilian.
She's probably doing that Yamanja.
Yeah.
I never knew she was Brazilian, you know?
Wow, dude, that's hilarious. Well, I mean, you know, I think she grew up in Brazil, but her family's clearly from like somewhere in Europe.
I thought she was like European.
Yeah, but no, she's born and raised in Brazil.
I mean, there's white people in Brazil.
Of course, we remember Talita. She white. All right, let's show this WandaVision clip. This is what we're gonna get banned for, showing Disney's
Life are
content.
easy to take for granted.
No,
Like-
turn it. Yeah. It's not even.
This is chaos
No, no,
magic,
no, no.
Wanda.
Okay.
And that makes you
Where are we playing this from?
No, you can just play that.
Okay.
That makes
Scarlet Witch.
Welcome back,
So
everyone.
you can
This
just
is going to be my
turn the
WandaVision.
volume.
Okay.
I just wanted to play the beginning and then
Okay.
just so Scarlet Witch, you
Yeah.
know, WandaVision, and I know people are like, but we gotta understand.
down?
No, keep it
No,
there.
no,
while
keep
we're
it there.
talking.
I'm not saying that you can't watch these things, but what I'm saying is that when people have no understanding, they think it's just all a game, but they're actually use like a lot of stuff from witchcraft
Yeah.
in a lot of these things.
Right.
And even like what they're showing, like the whole reality that she's creating, you know, that's witchcraft. Like, so that's what we deal with on a daily basis. And how she don't even know what she's doing, you know, in it. But this other witch does know what she's doing, but she just doesn't know how she's doing it, you know. And that makes her a Scarlet Witch.
Spoiler alert.
What?
If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert.
Yeah, yeah. For the I have never seen it. So
Oh,
I don't
okay.
even know what y'all talking about. But
Spoiler alert. Sorry. But the point is,
You don't even know what an Avenger is.
I know what an Avenger is.
the point is you get like, this is the Marvel universe, right?
Mhm.
And you can get so into this that you start to become you feel like you're a part of this reality and you want to live it out, you know, and you want to.
Think about all of the people like John John's age, a little bit older, a little bit younger, that are like, they know everything about Harry Potter and the whole
Yeah.
that universe.
Mhm.
You know, they all talk about what house they belong to, or is it house?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Is it House?
Mm-hmm.
like Game of Thrones.
Or Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
Star Wars.
But in those instances, it's literally based in like just witchcraft. You know, I remember Elisa's teacher last year was a Harry Potter fanatic, and her whole room was decorated like that. She used to like make them read the books and like, you know.
So you didn't fight that?
I mean, how am I gonna fight it? I told her like
If it's part of the.
I told her that I told Elise that she didn't have to do it. You know what I mean? So like, and they said if the child doesn't want to do it, they could opt out.
Oh,
so
okay.
she did. But
They
the
did
whole
that when I was a kid. They read
Yeah.
Harry Potter there, and Mom had me sit in another room. So I was the only kid by myself in another classroom while they read it.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like, you know, you isolate your child in a way, but you know, thankfully she nothing about it intrigued her, and she totally was annoyed by the whole Harry Potter thing. But it was something that was like just thrown in her face, like, oh, this teacher is like, she separated all of the kids into their houses, and they would work together and do the, you know what I mean? Like, it was the whole thing,
Right.
And
Slytherin and whatever. What's
whatever,
the other one?
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore.
I don't know.
Dumbledore.
I don't know. Is that one? I don't know.
Dumbledore is a guy.
Oh, okay. Whatever. Sound like a Harry Pottery name. I don't know.
My
But,
wife loves Harry Potter, so
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? But like
My sister too.
that generation loves that stuff, and they got so into it that it does kind of open you up in a way. Like just like when we were a little bit younger, there was the one with Winona Ryder. Was it Winona Ryder? The Craft or whatever.
Yeah, The Craft.
And then
Charmed.
Charmed. Yeah, it was another
Yeah.
one that people were like obsessed with.
Yeah, and in those
That's the movie.
It was a movie about
in those
witchcraft.
movies like Craft, like they use real witches.
Yeah.
and they used.
They talked about how
Yeah.
they brought in real witches to make sure they were really doing spells in that movie. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's not.
So you don't know what you're really, and I know watching that movie when I was a kid, it felt bad.
Yeah.
you know, but it's really about like, you know,
we could take this down.
it's really about what are we opening ourselves up to ignorantly, you
Right.
know, and just because it's kind of like a kid who has no covering, right, is vulnerable to all kinds of things. Right. So people who just open up themselves up to anything and are like, whatever, it's just a movie, it's just this, it's just that. Yeah, it is just a movie, but how much do you open yourself up to it? You can watch something and not open yourself up to where you're like, oh, that's so cool. You know what I mean? But when you're open to it now, you want to explore that in your own life, you know? So these things can become strongholds or false realities in your own life. And you see stuff like WandaVision, you know, and how she's going to a town, she's creating a whole different reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Out of the hurts.
out of her hurts, and people have to bend to her will, literally.
So she is upset about something. So she said, "I'm gonna go to this whole town and make them."
To understand it, she lost the guy she loved, which was not even a man. Like it's
He's an
AI, yeah,
Oh, okay.
Android. Like that's another weird thing, right? So she was in love with him. He dies. Thanos, you know, came in, killed him,
right.
and so she's like dealing with that loss and how she dealing with loss, right? Processing loss. That's always the issue, right? She doesn't know how to process it, and you can basically say she broke in a way, and she found like he had bought like this land for her to build on, right? That was in the middle of a town. So
In
she
New Jersey.
went in New Jersey.
In New
yeah.
Jersey?
Yeah.
Wow.
So she went to that town and she like just, I don't know how she started
She
to
did a
spell,
spell.
which basically she wanted to like create this life with him, you know, but it was all fake.
Right.
It's all fantasy, but she involves everybody in that town.
So they all are playing a part in this.
They're all playing a part. They're all like hypnotized.
But
into it.
so no one can leave the town.
No.
But they don't have control over their own will.
Oh,
like
so,
she's controlling.
so no one goes to. They all lose their jobs. They all
Like Vision wakes.
No, they
Well,
do
no,
stuff
no.
within the town. Like,
No, but I'm saying
They
like
work in jobs. Like they actually work jobs, and they.
so everyone in that town works within the town.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
does that happen ever in life?
it's not real.
I'm just saying like so
But it's also like based off of sitcoms. So like
Okay.
it goes through like first it's the 50s, then it's the 60s and
Okay.
70s and 80s.
So
You know
she's
what I mean?
creating like these sitcom scenarios.
She did it like subconsciously, like
Right.
because she was hurt. She didn't even know she was doing it.
And
Yeah.
she
Okay.
watched. She did it out of like what she watched a lot of sitcoms
like
going
Brady Bunch and stuff.
as a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
So now
Malcolm in the Middle.
Okay,
So she's
now
projecting
she's
that
projecting that
on
onto
people.
the town.
Right.
But I just find it fascinating that like none of these people can get contacted by their family outside of the town. Or
Well,
none of
yeah,
them.
they lose so they explain that in the show. They lose contact with them, and the people can't they don't know what they're doing. They're
Okay.
under her control.
But
if they lived outside the town, they now live in the town. They'll
the
find a
people.
home there.
So the people that were their family members moved into the town in their minds.
What do you mean?
They don't have minds.
I think you're thinking too far
Yeah.
into this.
No, I'm saying like the people that are in the town don't really exist.
No, they're real people.
Right.
She's taking control of them. They have no.
I get that, but what I'm saying is like, So none of these people have any contact with the people that
They
live
can't.
outside.
No,
of the town.
they have no
Because-
contact. They don't know what's going on.
What you don't know is there's a force. She created a force.
I get no. I picture all of that. I got it. But what I'm saying is, so what about the people that try to contact them?
They
They
can't.
can't.
They
so
can't.
they can't.
And
So
they can't go there.
So they can't go to the town.
When
Now,
they-
why, so no one can penetrate the force field that she's.
Well,
They
have
can
now,
try to
but
sneak in.
If you walk through, you go under her control.
Okay,
So then you
so
become
they-
a part of the town.
Rachel's like,
You become a part of the town, and you're added to the town.
I'm just trying to make y'all continually explain how dumb the show is. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah. Look,
It's actually a good show. Screw you.
I mean, what I'm saying is that it's about the controlling it for her own comfort.
Right. I get it.
That's
I get
what
it.
I'm saying.
I
Like,
get
it's
it.
about her comfort.
I'm just,
You know?
I'm just bringing up the holes in this plot line. That's all.
There are a lot of holes.
There's always a lot of holes. in
Yeah,
the
you can always
Marvel Cinematic
tear stuff
Universe.
apart.
Right.
But it's about the comfort. And look at like where she's drawing from. She's drawing from when she watches the things that make her feel comfortable,
Feel good, yeah.
right? And then she does that. Like she projects
And
that.
it makes sense because we do that in a lot of senses too, where it's like we watch these things growing up and then we try to emulate those in our lives. We want to live that out. We try to project that in real life
Right.
and live that out.
I've realized why I like Mandalorian so much because it reminds me of westerns, and that's
Yeah,
all my
that's how
dad
they
used to
made it, too.
watch.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
They
Well,
try to give it that feel.
Yeah, Western feel,
This
right?
clip started going viral on Netflix. I want to show it to y'all, get y'all reaction. This is from a show that they have.
Netflix?
Yeah. No, this is a Netflix show that went viral on Twitter because of this scene right here. And I just want to see what everyone thinks about it.
You don't get it. You are closer to white than I'll ever be.
Together, we make a whole white person.
Your favorite fruit is cheeseburgers, and I know more Mandarin than you do. You're barely even Asian.
Sorry, I'm not Chinese enough for you. But I've never seen you pound back jerk chicken. Last time I checked, Brody twerks better than you. And I liked your poem, but your bars could use a little more work, homie. So really, how black are you then?
Excuse me?
What? Literally, what? Because if we're gonna play that game, let's do it. Oppression Olympics. Let's go.
You don't get it.
That's the clip right there. So
Oppression Olympics.
So it's the premise is their boyfriend and girlfriend. She's half black, half white. He's half white, half Taiwanese. And then they get into this argument over who's more oppressed. And like they start going like that's what that whole argument was. And she's talking about how he don't speak Mandarin. She's talking about how she can't rap or dance or whatever, can't twerk. So that don't make her
Don't
so
eat
she's
jerk
not
chicken.
she don't eat jerk chicken, so she's not really black. And it was just like one of the cringy. So all the comments were like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen.
But it's that they think that's what people want when they really don't want that.
Yeah, they think that this is where everyone is mentally right
Yeah.
now. And that's the crazy thing. Like the people, the executives, the writers that put this trash together, it's like they really think that this is what like young people.
This is how-
and maybe this is what young people argue about now. I mean, I don't know. That's sad if that's the case. Like who's more oppressed? But when you look at the intersectionality stuff and all of that, that's what they're addressing here. Like who's at the top of the oppression hierarchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think people like until they feel like they gotta perform are trying to find out, all these things.
Yeah.
It's just like especially now, like people aren't out there. And when you're a kid, like right now, kids just want to have fun.
Yeah. It's
You know
like
what I
when
mean?
you're in your teenage years, when you're trying to feel out the social hierarchy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what you do. You try to find your niche or find your spot to grab some power in that hierarchy. And I think like this idea of using your racial identity to gain power is again, like we were talking about earlier, like it's the definition of racism, but it's being taught as some virtuous thing or like anti-racism.
I
which
mean,
is weird.
really, like if you take all that away, it's just rivalry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's just Cain and Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes back to like it's just like, and you think about like kids, like my kids, they're always like, Daddy, Jakey did this,
Yeah.
Layla did this. They there. Layla told me this, or
Right.
you know, they're coming at each other. And what do we do as parents? We're teaching them that doesn't matter.
Right.
You know, it doesn't matter. Stop contending with one another.
Yeah.
Stop.
When we were kids, our parents didn't like fully get it, so they would just be like, "Don't be no tattletale." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
right,
Like,
right.
They would hit you with that. Like nobody
Or
likes
stop,
to tattletale.
Stop annoying me. You know
Right,
what I mean?
right.
Some
right.
parents are just like,
right.
stop.
Which there is a lesson in that, but it's not just stop being a tattletale.
Right.
You know
why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I do tell my kids like,
Right.
You know, you don't have to tell everything she did, but you got to ask yourself why you're telling me.
Right. Why
are you trying to feel good
gain
about yourself?
favor with me
Yeah.
right now? You know, show me you're the good one. You know.
Right.
Yeah. There was another scene from these two in the show that I saw where she, because they're dating or whatever, she goes to meet his family, and his family are like super hipster liberal Taiwanese parents, which is so like unrealistic, right? Like, and they have no problem with the fact that she's black. And we always talk about the dynamic of the Asian parents, like the Asian and black dynamic,
Yeah.
which is relevant right now because there's a huge problem with Asian Americans being attacked right now in black communities, like especially in California. Like it's crazy right now.
Yeah, Jeremy Lin just I just saw an article about him. He's playing. Where is he
Yeah.
playing? Golden State. He's playing in the D League.
He's playing in some D League.
D
Yeah.
League right now, and he said he was talking about how people are calling them coronavirus.
Coronavirus, yeah.
And
Yeah.
he was speaking out, against.
But he didn't want to
racism.
He didn't want to call anybody out specifically.
Right.
You know what I mean? But there's this weird thing happening now where it's like, because I saw a clip on The Real where they were talking about the attacks in the Asian community, but and a lot of people are talking. They talk about it on the Breakfast Club, like Asian Americans are being attacked, but they want to equate it to, Trump and
his rhetoric
and the rhetoric from, the
calling it China virus
or the
and stuff.
Kung flu or like all that stuff.
Yeah.
But the attacks that are happening have nothing to do with that. They're random attacks from black people against Asians. You know what I mean? Older Asian people are being.
I think it has more to do with, because this was in the 90s. This happened in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like when you had like the Rodney
King. The LA riots. Yeah.
Rodney King, and a lot of like because a lot of the Asians were in a lot of the black neighborhoods.
They own businesses there.
Right.
It's the same thing here.
So they were getting, attacked.
They get like, what's the scene from Menace to Society?
Yeah.
Hurry up and buy. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Hurry up and buy.
Yep.
And what does he do? He robs the store and he shoots both of them. You know
You
what I mean?
break, you buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel sorry for your mother. Remember that? That scene. What you say? Break yourself. That's where all that comes
Yeah,
from. Break yourself. I feel sorry for your mother. But there was this weird dynamic in the 90s, and now it's starting to pop up again because there's this tension with the Asian and black community. It's a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny to watch them because like the chick that Jenny Ma that dates Young Jeezy or whatever from The Real, she was the one. Jenny Mai, Jeannie Mai, whatever. Yeah, okay.
She's Vietnamese, ain't she?
She Vietnamese. Oh, what I call her? Jenny Ma. Yeah. Sounds just as Asian to me. But anyway, so she was going on this whole rant about how like, the Asian community, like this is because of white supremacy, and the Asian community needs to do a better job of reaching out to the black community and undoing all the racial biases that they have, and like not locking up stuff that black people steal in their stores, like, you know what I mean, like spinning it that way where it's like that is not the issue here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That is not the issue. It was just a weird take on it that I didn't get. It was like,
I feel like she don't live in real life.
yeah, it's like you're
You're living in that celebrity.
yeah, the celebrity bubble. You're using these like talking points about racial injustice and how like everything that plagues the black community is all because of white supremacy. You know what I mean?
I dealt with that.
I mean-
we talked about my story about how I used to, when I first came to the U.S., I failed kindergarten, so I had to take, summer classes. But the summer school I lived in a little section called, Little Cambodia.
Right.
Like off of 7th Street, Schneider. I had to cross over
In
Schneider.
Philadelphia.
Yeah,
Go through like Siegel Street to go to that school there. And that was like a black section.
That's where Beanie Siegel's from.
I
you know what I mean?
used to get chased,
Yeah.
I lost a few flip-flops.
Of course, he was in flip-flops even as a child, going to school in flip-flops. But why would they chase you? Just because you was a little Asian kid?
Because I was a little Asian kid that looked like, I was a punk or whatever.
We used to get picked on because we were mixed.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna happen.
Right.
Like, it's gonna happen. So, people can say, oh, black people are oppressed, but they oppressed too. Because people...
The thing that I'm pointing out is the fact that they're using this because they're saying like hate crimes against Asians are on the rise. They're using this to like as a way to spin the narrative into making people think that there's this like
it's some white thing.
And when you see the clips of these attacks, it's literally like an old Asian man just walking down the street. Someone comes up behind him and just knocks him out for no reason.
Who do bullies pick on?
Right, the weak
people that they think is weak.
Yeah,
it's tribalism.
Yeah,
that's what we're dealing with. It's tribalism. Yeah. People start and it's like even in the black community, it breaks down. You know what I mean? You got dark skin, light skin, like especially when there's conflict, especially when you got race stuff, you start picking that apart even more.
Right. Yeah.
Because who do you place blame on? And so how is it good in any way? It's not good.
There's tribalism in every race. I see that, with the Hispanics.
Yep.
Puerto Ricans don't like Dominicans because of this. Mexicans don't like this. In the Asians, Vietnamese don't like Cambodians.
Yes. My grandma used to talk to us, used to plead with us not to date. These Dominicans. Dominican girl. He's no good. Like she used to tell us that all the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know why. I guess in that community they have bad experiences. I don't know. Like in New York, especially. My grandma lived in New York for a long time, so I'm sure there she had some run-ins or whatever. Maybe her son's dating them, I don't know. But
there's a huge Christian Korean community.
Yeah.
Like in Korea, but in South Korea.
I see Korean church all the time.
But in America too. But the thing is they stay to themselves. Like so it's like or they like they're with white people,
Right.
But they don't really get down with black people in that way. So
we know.
But you think about that, like, what are we doing, like, as Christians?
Right.
We got to step outside of our boxes. What are we afraid of? You know what I mean? How are we gonna? We love people the way we want to love people.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and we talk about it all the time. Like, there is this stigma in the Asian community against black people. Like especially maybe not with the younger ones, maybe only in a certain sense. Like I know, I'm not gonna say any names, but people that we know or that people in this room know have little slick stuff to say about black people a lot of times. You know what I mean? But their older generation was just blatant about it. You know what I mean? And I think that's what you're dealing with in the first generation. Immigrants, a lot of times they just had this idea that like, nope, no blacks. You know what I mean? And your mom's never like that.
I was blessed.
I
was just about to mention that. My mom she loved all people. She had black friends. She had Mexican friends, everybody. And that's, it rubbed off on me. You know?
Your mom is an anomaly though. Like she ate an elephant, so.
Yeah.
But
she could have died.
Yeah.
And I probably couldn't have, wouldn't have been here.
Right.
It's crazy.
It's crazy when you think about it, And in a lot of communities, and I think it has a lot to do with the way they've been depicted in the media, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
and that tension, because I think there's a situation where you see a bunch of people opening up businesses in your neighborhood, and somehow you feel like they are oppressing you as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, especially when you go in and you support their business and they treat you like like you're gonna steal, you know,
Right.
Yeah.
even if you were maybe gonna steal, but like if they assume it, it's like, but how dare you?
You think
know
I'm
what
gonna
saying?
steal?
Like,
That's why I'm gonna
you know,
steal.
Yeah, but how do you change that? Like,
Yeah.
you love those
You love
people,
it.
Right.
and then they start to see you differently.
Yep.
Love always conquers, like,
Right.
but you got to do it. You're always going to be tested in that love,
Right.
You know.
But if you go in there out of hurt and treat them the way you think they are, you think they're treating you, so you reciprocate that.
Right.
Like we talk about
Yeah.
it all the time when we used to go in the Chinese store, you know,
Yeah.
"Yo, let me get a Lucy. Hey yo, let me get a Lucy. You know, and it's just that whole interaction, and you just see the girl behind the counter just rolls her eyes and
Yeah.
throws the Lucy out there. It's like, it's just this dynamic that never goes anywhere because we're both just feeding off of each other's energy and just reciprocate. It's like you said, the mirror that's pointing back, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you stay in that cycle of,
Yeah.
you know, not growing anywhere.
And it's like it's a false peace.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the tension's there, but you got to get along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But real peace comes from real love.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And if
Right.
you can,
And real appreciation, like you
Mhm.
said, real like gratitude, like we're in your community. Thank you for supporting our business, or thank you
Thank
for
you
bringing
for
this providing
yeah.
this business
Yeah.
into our community. Like maybe, and I guess there's a sense of like they open these things, but they don't provide jobs to the community. But people don't understand that that's because a lot of times they're small businesses, and they bring their own family in to work it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
yeah.
So there is this. It's crazy.
It's
nuanced,
it's
man.
complicated, but it's
complicated.
not.
Yeah.
It's not complicated when you just do the basics.
Yeah.
But when you're like analyzing everything,
Yeah.
yeah, it's complicated.
Right.
But it don't need to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's simple. Oh, okay, they got that. Cool. They got that. I'm not gonna.
Yeah. What? What's so funny?
No, my mom commented. She said, "Yes, Henry dated Dominican women. A few were into witchcraft."
Hey, Puerto Ricans are into witchcraft too. So
Santeria.
yeah. Paul said, "Good point. A lot of these people don't live in real life." I guess he was talking about the genie. What?
Genie
Mines.
Genie Mines.
Genie Mines. And then
Who's she dating? Jeezy?
She's with Jeezy. Yeah.
Really?
Yep. She left her white husband.
Naomi says, "Yes, peace is love."
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't come without you. Peace doesn't come if you don't go through the fire.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to be tested. You're not going to have real peace because it's about reconciliation.
I just want, Paul had a comment about WandaVision. One of y'all said they don't have minds, and he said, "I know some folks like that." But go ahead, Jake.
I don't remember what I was going to say.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought that was a funny comment.
No,
Walking through
that's
the
what I was
fire.
going to say.
Walking through fire.
Peace doesn't come without reconciliation, and in order to have that reconciliation, you gotta endure for other people. You know what I mean? You gotta bear for them, like what
Yeah.
I was saying earlier. So love is about bearing for somebody. Like it says, love covers a multitude of sins. You know what I mean? That's literally you're not going to be able to cover somebody in all their lawless, because what is sin? It's lawlessness.
Mhm.
It's not living up to the standard that they should be living up to, right?
Yeah.
And the only way we're going to be able to cover that is love, so that it doesn't affect the community. But if you're pointing the finger, then we're just stuck in that cycle again, right? It's cyclical. You're not going to get out of it. But when we are able to bear it, trusting God in it, even though we're being attacked.
Yeah.
We might go into a store and somebody's looking at us. You know, Muhammad or Mama.
You remember that when that happened to me?
Muhammad or Mama.
Dude, that
Yeah.
happened to me at the 7-Eleven that we ended up always going to.
Yep.
You know, and by
Recently?
my
No,
dad's. No, when I
this
was a teenager.
Before we knew
I
you
was
guys.
13.
We were like in middle school.
I was 13. I remember because I had my
middle
I had
school.
my Eric Lindros and Bobby Clark signed flyers jacket on, starter jacket. I thought I
He
was
was fresh to
I
death.
thought I was the ish because my dad took us to some Flyers tribute show that the Dovells were playing, and Eric Lindros and Bobby Clark, who are two Flyers Hall of Famers, were both there at the same time. And I just happened to have my jacket on, and they both came over and signed it for me. So I used to wear it like a dummy all the time.
Where is that now?
My mom washed it.
Watch it. Yeah.
So the signatures got all faded. But anyway, so me and Jake used to go to that 7-Eleven when we were teenagers just to go there and, you know, get some stuff. So we're in there and we're getting ready to leave, and literally the dude just like comes up to me and just grabs me like, you're stealing, and let me empty your pockets. And I just got
I remember
so
you telling me this story
pissed,
before.
like, because I would never steal. Like, I wasn't one of those kids. I never stole
Yeah,
from
we weren't
the store.
one of those,
Yeah,
those kids.
we weren't those kids. Like, we would never do that.
Didn't your dad go?
My dad went there and cursed them all out. Cursed all of them out. Went in there like, this is my son. You see me in here all the time. My son don't steal. You know what I mean? Like, he went in there and did the whole thing, and I was standing there like, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right. But that's why. But that was, see, then that informs when I'm an older teenager, 17, 18, 19 years old, and we're doing dumb stuff, we would go in there and torture them because it was like, y'all don't respect us, so you know.
But that's what perpetuates the thing.
Right.
Yeah. I remember just on the line of stealing.
Yeah.
One of our best friends, Junior.
It's funny because I thought about that. The moment we said we never did that, I thought about Junior.
We used to ride our bike to the Wawa, right? And there was a Wawa on the corner. And
you remember Sicklerville Road? You know that Wawa,
That
right?
little- Sicklerville Road
That
and-
thing,
and
that was
Ariel, New Brooklyn.
Yes, that was the
The
first
small
Wawa
Wawa.
in the area. Matter of fact, our dad and your dad got into a fist fight at that Wawa on our way home
Not
from
that
soccer.
one.
It wasn't that one?
No.
Oh.
It was another
I
one.
thought it was that one. But
So-
anyway, go ahead.
So anyway, so we went there, and he's like, I could tell, like, there was he would go further than I would go.
Junior?
With things, yeah.
Yeah. He was
So-
always like that.
Yeah,
He always
and
pushed- Yes.
we were like, you know, like his angel on the shoulder. like,
Yeah.
yo, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. You know, and he would just take that step. Like, there were kids in the neighborhood that would pick on us.
Right.
They were way older. Right. And he would they were like, why are you hanging? Because they were black.
Yeah.
You know, we're the mixed kids.
Yeah.
So he's like, why are you hanging with them? So then he would like, come with us.
Yeah.
And they would do it just to spite us.
Mhm.
And he would like get pulled into it. So me and him would kind of butt heads
Yeah.
sometimes. We got into a few fights over that, but we were friends most of all. So anyway, so we're going, we were like 11, 12. We're going riding bikes to Wawa, getting candy, getting chips. And he wants to steal some gum.
Yeah.
He has the money.
It was bubble tape.
Yeah. Bubble tape.
Remember bubble tape?
Yep. They still sell it.
Oh, yeah.
Do they?
do. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So
They do.
he has the money. He just wants to steal, right?
And got caught.
So he tells me, "Yo, I'm going to steal."
I've heard all these stories.
Yeah, you have. So I'm like, all right, if you're going to steal, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Right? So I leave. And I left him in there by himself because I'm not in that.
Yeah.
Moment you tell me you're
Yeah.
stealing, I'm out. Right?
Jake's good at dipping.
Yep.
So he never comes out.
Uh-oh.
I already know what it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So then so later on that day, his mom comes and she got him by the neck, bringing him into the house.
Yeah.
He's grounded for like a month.
Yeah.
Because of that.
Yep. He was not allowed. I remember mad times going to his house and he would just look out the window.
Yeah.
He ain't allowed outside.
But it's like all for that. And it really was just like this mentality that he had from, you know, growing up the way he grew up. He didn't really have I had my dad, I had my mom, you know. His mom wasn't really around. He didn't have his dad around. So he learned a lot of his morals from us.
Right.
You know? But you see, and he always says that to us, you know, I'm so thankful for you guys, for your mom,
Yeah.
for, you know.
Even our dad.
Yeah, and our dad.
You were there when my dad had to get in them a bunch of times.
Yeah, but
because he pushes it.
He goes too
he
far.
pushes it. Yeah,
he goes too.
He pushes it. He's not like that anymore.
Especially if he gets a reaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Back in the day, like if he got a reaction, he couldn't stop. He had to go further.
And I used to give it to him
yes,
too, bro. Like there was
Brian, y'all would just crack up.
There was times where he would just like he would eat an apple. We would be driving. He'd just throw an apple at. He threw an apple at some lady, hit her in the head.
It's not funny. It's not funny. It's not funny, man. Yeah, he used to do that all the time. Like I remember he threw a strawberry milkshake on somebody when we were driving one time. Like, come on, dude, what are you doing?
It's funny in a like Three Stooges type of, you
Yeah.
know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Yeah.
But like then when somebody turns around and shoots you because you put milkshake on them,
Right.
it's not as funny.
Right. It's funny at like what the prank videos are on YouTube now,
Right,
or
like-
what was the show on MTV?
Oh, Jackasses.
Yeah. It was like that type of.
Right.
But it's crazy that like when you act like that, how you just perpetuate the matter with people, and
Right.
that's their reason.
Right.
That's people's reason. That's
Mhm.
people's reason for hating black people. That's
Mhm.
people's reason for, whatever. They hate because they have a reason.
You know what's funny? You know how white people always say black people steal bikes?
Yeah.
Remember when Junior got my bike stolen? Remember that? Mom was so mad.
Yeah.
Because he asked to borrow my bike because he went to go hang out with them dudes. He went to go hang out with them dudes, and then one of them probably just took it from him because he avoided us for like 2 days, and then finally had to show up and be like, "Yo, your bike got stolen." And my mom was so mad, yo. But yeah,
I would have been mad too.
that was just a funny scenario.
But that's people. They make these things, these stereotypes. They don't make them up. You got to live up to them in a certain
right.
way. But when you just stop there and you have no hope, you have no love, that's where the division comes in.
Right. Yeah.
The divides come in, but like we grew up, because we were mixed,
Mhm.
And because we grew up like talking to everybody anyway. With mom and dad, like we never viewed people as like, oh, you're white, you're black, you're Hispanic. We just whatever.
Yeah.
You want to be friends? You want to play? You want to,
Yeah, it's funny how that concept kind of gets sorted out and kind of put in your mindset on its own later on in life, like through high school and stuff like. Because it wasn't really until like later grade school, high school, that you even start paying attention to that.
Right.
People force you to pay attention to that. I remember kids used to do like the blacks versus whites on the basketball court and then be like, make fun of you because you don't fit in either one, or us, so it's like that. Those are the moments when you start paying attention to it. Like, oh yeah, I'm not white or black. You know what I mean? Like it's weird.
Now they're making you pay attention to it.
Yeah. Now they're forcing you. They're doing whites only cafes and black only spaces,
Yeah, but what's that doing? That's just making tribes. Like now you're just dividing on trying to make yourself feel good about yourself.
Right.
Hey, if I victimized me getting chased, as a kid going to summer school, I wouldn't be friends with you guys.
You know what I'm saying? And half the people, most of your friends are black. Most of your friends are black. Dude.
Yeah.
Even like thinking about all the people that used to come through your crib, like when I first met you, it was mostly black people.
They were all black,
except for like Steve and Scott.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marlon.
I had no Asian friends.
Yeah.
There weren't many Asians at school.
You still don't have many Asian friends.
The one I do have, not mentioning any names, I'm not Asian enough.
Yeah, exactly. She commented on my stories like, oh yeah, I just had a whole Asian weekend.
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Whole Asian weekend.
Yeah. But there's other circles of Asians where they only hang out with each other.
Mhm.
and then mix in John
Except for
John.
John
He'll mix in John
Sprinkle in John John.
Sprinkle him in there, but he's still not in the inner circle. If you notice, he ain't in the inner circle. You know what I'm saying? Like he's him and a couple of his friends, like Mike. He's in the inner circle, like that's his homeboy. But the other ones, they got their little nucleus that he could never penetrate fully. Like he'll just be kind of get invited. Like
No, but see,
he's
No,
like,
I don't know about that.
I will, but what I'll say is that he's not afraid.
yeah, I
You
agree.
know, and he, like, that's one thing with John John, and he's always been that way.
Yeah.
He's always been this loving kid that's been oblivious about race a lot of times.
Because look
you
at
know?
how he grew.
Yeah.
He grew up in a neighborhood where he was probably the only white kid at that point. At that point, when he was
Me
3
and
years
Bruce.
old, and
Yeah.
he was playing out there with all them kids.
Yeah.
them kids. He was one. He was one of the only. Yeah, he was one of the only white kids out there. You know,
Yeah.
and we used to have to do everything
I used to
to
beat him
protect
in track. Everybody.
Yeah, used to make them race. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting to see, like, but he always had like that love, like it was. It
remember
was
all
almost
the
like a
kid-
naive.
Remember all the kids that used to knock on the door to play with him, and we used
Yeah.
to be annoyed. Like they used to constantly.
Oh yeah, the one dude that couldn't talk.
Yeah. What was his name?
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, he knows it. He knows it. Jun, dun, 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 dun.
He knows all our stories.
Yeah. He used to knock on the door.
We never knew what he was saying. He
Yeah.
would just be talking. We'd just like,
That was Joe Don's little brother.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. It was funny. But
Yeah, but I think like it's because like you were exposed to a bunch of stuff. You know, you had your white family, you had your Hispanic family, you had my dad's family, you know, the black side, and then you had the people you grew up around. So because you were exposed to a lot, then when you got around some Asians, it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
You know, you're like, oh, there's just some other people.
And there was clearly way more Filipinos in Williamstown when he went there than when we went there.
Yeah.
There was a few. There was like 5.
Yeah.
when we went to school.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny.
But same thing with Simone. Like, you know, if you would have stayed in Philly, it might have been a little different.
Oh, definitely.
Because that's
He'd
like
have been a
Cambodian
gangster.
Central.
I would have been a gangster. I probably would have.
Yeah.
But
he likes
but
to
you,
fight.
Bloods.
if no, what I'll say is if you would have stayed in Philly and your mom wouldn't have been with your father, a white man, you know what I mean, it could have been different. But because of that, you experienced something that you
Yeah.
would have never experienced.
Right.
You know, and that's
True love, family. He taught me all that.
Yeah. Seeing past race, you know. Yeah.
and that's where you get that reconciliation.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not about race when you there's some cultural things that are cool and
Yeah.
really like
Culture's awesome.
Yeah,
Especially
culture
the
is
food,
awesome.
man.
but
Yeah, man. I wouldn't know what white rice and sausage tastes like if I didn't hang out with Mo.
I introduced you to sriracha.
You sure
Before
did.
it-
Before it was a
Food
thing.
Network.
Before anybody knew about sriracha.
white rice, sriracha with sausage.
Yeah, we used to eat that stuff. And I was like, yo, this is the best hot sauce ever.
Until Gus.
What? Oh, no, that's a difference. Yeah, that's on another level right there. Yeah, but yeah, that's the thing. Culture is amazing and it's interesting.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you should it shouldn't lock you into an ideology or a way of living. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think we dropped the ball in
It's-
all races. In
it's
all
just
cultures.
differences that are unique.
Yeah.
and you can appreciate
Yeah.
the uniqueness.
Right.
That's what's cool. Like what we were talking about earlier, you can appreciate what they have to offer,
Right.
what they have to give, right? Instead of looking at it like, well, it's cultural appropriation.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm taking
Yeah,
from you, but
yeah.
what are you giving to me?
Right.
Like, dude, that's a whole nother dynamic that I don't
Right.
want to be a part of.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciate your culture and whatever you want to give,
Yeah.
I'm willing to receive it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But when we're thinking like that, again pointing the finger at one another. Like,
right.
That's not love.
Definitely not. All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Leave it there. Thank you guys for watching.
That's the message.
That was a good
love.
Love is the message.
True love.
Love changes things.
Love changes things. Letting go.
It's never easy to do.
I was listening to that the other day, man. Like,
Yeah.
We gotta bring that song back. Do it acoustically or
It's a good
something.
message.
Mess with it.
My name is John Tiffy, and love changes things.
Were you in that video?
No, you wanted me to send it, and I was like, nope, not doing it.
But your friends did.
Yeah, my friends did.
Yeah.
Yo, we should play that. We should play that.
That video?
Yeah. What? Maybe
Next time. I gotta find it. I don't remember what I did with it. Didn't I send it to y'all?
Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jaden's little big head was in it. He was
right.
Not even 3.
Jaden was little, boy.
Yeah, Fabian was in it.
Fabian was
he
in
was
it.
snitching on me at that age too.
Yeah, I sent it to Dave because Damir and David was in it. They sang "Love Change."
Yeah, they were so little. Now David's knocking people down.
He's playing rugby now.
Yeah,
it's crazy. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody who's stuck in there watching. We appreciate you. Why it sound like I lost?
Yeah.
Lost everything. Lost everything. Well, anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Make sure you do all the things. Go to patreon.com/YoungLionTV. Go to, there we go.
Randomly came back.
Go to, oh, okay. Go to Jatan.com for music. We got a new song coming out in April called Darling, and it's a good one. What was I? We're appropriating musical cultures, mixing them together, just like we do with food. Yeah, but we appreciate you guys, and we love you guys. Naomi said, thank you. Love is always the message, gentlemen. This session was very powerful, and everything that's going on in the world, we have to pray for them. That's right.
Yep.
That's what we're talking about. But yeah, see you guys next week. Will be episode 99.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, guys, we out.
Young Lion, go live, yeah. Young Lion, you rich, yeah. This kingdom has room, yeah. Go and fight people in, ooh.